We are with Gloucester Fire Chief Eric Smith to get us caught up on all things going on with the department and to look forward to summer. How are you, Chief Smith? Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. You know, we're all coming out of hibernation, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of hibernation, the Gloucester numbers are 0 COVID cases as of today. So how do you feel about, how does the department feel? How do you feel about, entering this new world of where are we?
So it's kind of the mixed feelings for me, both, personally and professionally. I'm wearing both hats like most everybody that's in this field, and the quote unquote front line, that we've all gotten so much press and accolades, rightly or wrongly, for. This the job we picked. COVID came along. It's time to pay the bill. It's the thing that we feared and we trained for. So just get on with it, right? That's kind of the underlying, feeling of at least my staff here. And I know there's other medical professionals that feel differently and are in a different situation than we are. So, I get that. But for us, the opportunity to get the vaccine right up front and early, we're 93% vaccinated within our department. So that's a great thing. As soon as they got the shot, they're like, so can I take the mask off yet? And it's like, yeah, no. Look at what it says about the efficacy of the vaccine. It's very good at preventing you from getting COVID. If you get it, it really seems to help temper how bad you will get sick and keep you out of the hospital. But that's not foolproof, right? It's not bulletproof. That is not armor plate here. You're not invincible. You're still susceptible, just less susceptible and less likely to get critically ill. So to frame it and look at it in that perspective, the reduction in mask use, the mask use outside in the open air when no one's around you, quite frankly, I still shake my head at it. I don't make those decisions. It's policy way above me. But if I'm 50 feet away from you and we're outside, putting a mask on, in my opinion, is stupid. It's just my opinion, not to get the ire of those above me that make those decisions, but I understand why they make them, right? Because when you tell the public, well, if you're within certain parameters, you'll be okay, you don't have to, then somebody always takes advantage, somebody forgets. It's just, one thing leads to another, right? The old thing that you always say about the kids or folks that tend to try to take a little advantage of things is you give them an inch, they take a mile. If I tell you if you're 50 feet away, we're okay, you go, oh, I thought you said 5 feet. No, not 5 feet, 50 feet, right? So yeah, the mask mandate, put it on, we don't care where you are, inside, outside, everywhere, was really again, this is my opinion, this isn't inside baseball, this is my speculation from my seat, is that if we set a rule that's stringent and applies in all circumstances, you're less likely to forget it and mess it up, and then we'll get this thing under control, right? The mask was to control the source of what's coming out of people that's getting others sick, but they're finding some efficacy in even not high grade or high quality masks give you some percentage of protection from inhaling it from others. So when you add all these things together, you're creating more layers and more safety in trying to prevent the spread. Now we have a vaccine that's there to do the same and get this thing under control. Do we still need to be wearing masks in circumstances? I think the answer is yes. They've already said that they're going to continue in hospitals, they're continuing nursing homes. Well, why is that? Well, because this thing's not bulletproof and those people are sick, they're at higher risk. This thing can still spread. And if you spread it to them and they're already in that situation, it's going to make it a lot harder on them. It makes it harder on the medical system, blah, blah, blah. All the same reasons that they apply to everybody on the planet, they've shrunk that down to those that are more in the high risk category. Because, quite frankly, it's getting difficult because people need to get back to life for many reasons. Economics is one of them alone. It just that the whole circumstance of people not going to restaurants, people not shopping, they're not out spending money. Your economy's starting to stall or has stalled, and they're trying to get that thing back up and running. And if we don't do it and open things up here like the governor did, and other states are opening up, then what? Then they take advantage of all that opportunity for folks that are up and moving and want to move around the world and get back to normal. They reap the economic benefits, and we slip further and further behind, and people start to create new habits quickly, right? If they go, well, you know, if I go to state X, that it was awesome, we didn't get sick, we had a great time, we're going there again next year, and they don't come to Massachusetts, right? So there's all these things, and even the local travel for that matter. If one city's far more stringent than another, and you get there and it's more difficult, and you have a different political opinion, it makes things tough. So I don't envy the governor or the president or any of those folks that have to make those decisions at their level. I've made the same and similar decisions at my microscopic piece of the Gloucester Fire Department and what we do here, and was unpopular in many circumstances, at times, with the 70 plus employees we have here that have their own opinions on it, and what we could and can't do once we were vaccinated. But I kind of err on the side of caution. I think we were really the cutting edge of doing it right at the beginning of this thing. We got a lot of smart people that are working here. I got a lot of experience in hazmat, which correlates to typically respiratory protection is your biggest risk in hazmat exposures, obviously skin and other things too, but it's more respiratory. So I got a ton of experience in that, and I just applied that to this issue and moved on because there wasn't a lot of guidance at the beginning. And so in doing that and implementing that here, we did really, really well at managing our operations and not getting our personnel sick from this thing. We didn't have a lot of positive cases, and the ones that we had didn't contact trace back to work. We couldn't say, oh, they for sure got it at work, because I think we did the right things. I think they were incidental to people living and being out in the world. It just is what it is. That's how the thing spread. So yeah, we're, my personal opinion, professional opinion on that kind of blend together. I think, if you're in a grocery store, it's probably not a horrible idea to still wear a mask, but some of these grocery stores have high ceilings. They have good air circulation. If you're going there not at a busy time and you're the only one in the aisle, do you really need the mask? Probably not. But if the aisle's packed and everyone's standing there reading labels and you're less than 6 feet away, you probably still should wear a mask to do what we did already, which is try to contain the source and not spread this thing around. Our numbers hitting 0, well, that's for the people that live here, right? If you're visiting, if you test positive, that gets reported back to the community in which you live, right? Not to the community in which you're visiting. Even if you're just here for the summer, if you've rented a house or own a property and you stay here for the summer, if this isn't your routine home address and you get COVID, CDC and the state DPH report that back to the community of record for you. So those numbers don't live on top of our stats, but they could be here. I mean, we get a summer swell of anywhere between 10 and 20,000 typically every summer with all the visitors and folks that live here in the summer months that have summer homes. So there's the number is great. It's awesome. And the trend in the state is the same, really, when you look at it compared to others. So I think, relatively safe. Some of the real tight, small places, restaurants, bars, a lot of laughing, singing, carrying on. I'm still wearing a mask, to be honest with you, if I'm in those environments, but I have personal issues that kind of drive me along to that as well. I have family members that aren't vaccinated yet. I had a brand new, granddaughter that I'm not willing to take any risks for her. I have a mother-in-law that's, in that elderly stage and in the nursing home. I'm not willing to extend my risk for her or my family. So I tend to do things a little more strict than what the guidelines require. But again, it falls back to personal comfort and safety. And if you're the one that's making someone else uncomfortable, then it's on them, I guess, to step away or mask up or do what they have to do to be comfortable. So it's, again, it's that personal accountability, kind of goes both ways. Don't put yourself in a bad spot, and, have a little courtesy and try not to put others that seem uncomfortable in a bad spot. The same things, wash your hands, all that. Mom has always been right? Mom has been right about that forever, about washing our hands and cleaning and sanitizing and all that, because, hey, the flu's still out there, colds are still out there. I don't want any of the above, let alone COVID or something else. So that's my 2 cents worth.
So,
Two?
go ahead.
Well, 102 cents. Yeah.
So, so Chief, what are you thinking about the summer? Like, what are you, now that COVID is just a little bit in the rearview mirror, just a little bit, what are the concerns for the fire department this coming summer?
Yeah, well, I mean, COVID is way in the rearview mirror for some, right? As we're starting to see, the summer influx is kicking off. You know, if anybody that's driven down the boulevard and been stuck by the bridge, coming and going 2-3 times a day, as we see, you know, there's a lot of boating traffic already. Summer's kicked in. The beaches have been packed every day that it's hot out and the tides allow, if you will. So I think it's going to be a good summer. I'm hopeful that all the efforts that we've made in the country and the state and in this city to manage and contain and get this thing under control, stay under control. If it doesn't and we see those numbers surge, the good news is we know what to do about it, right? So we got to fall back a little bit and do the things that we've done before, spread out a little more. It sucks. No one wants to do it, but if we have to, we have to. We know how to play that game now, right? So we're okay with it. We'll figure it out and we'll react accordingly. As far as the rest of the things that we see, you know, summertime issues beyond that, you know, the outdoor cooking and the outdoor recreational fires and all those things, people just, again, you got to exercise a lot of safety. Those that have lived here a long time, you know, I'm coming up on 9 years in this job and living in this community. And, you know, my wife and I like to hike, and I should get out and do more. Obviously, I need to shed a few pounds. But every time I'm out in the woods, it's a little concerning. And not only this town, it's across the state, it's across the country, because we have not spent the money on doing what some think is routine. It's not routine to go out and clear the deadfall in large wooded areas. It's expensive, it's time consuming, it's difficult. And Mike Hale and the DPW do not have the resources to manage that on city owned property. And, you know, all of the different conservation groups that own large green spaces around town and in the area and in the state do not have the money to go out and clear all that deadfall. You know, and it's and we've had a major hit from droughts and bugs and everything else that have created a huge fire load out in the woods. So I beg of people to be careful, especially those that abut any of the wooded areas. You know, if you're doing something in your yard and it gets away from you and gets out into those woods and takes off, it's not easy to get it under control quickly if it spreads quickly. So, you know, we're looking at a drought season again, to whatever degree we'll see as time goes on. But that's one of the bigger concerns is woods fires. So, you know, if folks are out there enjoying them, do so responsibly. Don't be out there discarding, you know, smoking materials foolishly, carelessly. You know, the kids that are out there playing, listen, don't play with matches. You've heard it forever, kind of like wash your hands. There's a lot of truth to that. If you like to enjoy the woods, even as a kid, even if you're running around out there, maybe not doing all the right things, maybe misbehaving a little bit, don't set the place on fire, because you won't have a place to go play the next time or hang out next time. You're going to ruin the place that you're enjoying. Whether you're behaving or not behaving is a different issue, but setting it on fire is going to cause you to not have that place anymore, right? I mean, it's just the realities of it. You know, the other side of it is the quarries. You know, we had issues with the quarries last year. We have a lot of trails, and some of them are pretty difficult to navigate, you know, on a good day, depending on your skill and ability as a hiker. And if you get out there and get hurt, I got to bring 5, 6, 8 people out in the woods that are carrying all kinds of equipment over terrain and then carry you out. It's not a simple thing, and we frequently are getting our folks hurt doing those operations. And people are going to get out there and they're going to have an accident. They're going to get hurt. But, you know, don't take unnecessary risks. You know, you shouldn't be out there lighting fires anyway. It's not legal, so just don't do it. But, you know, if you're out there, if you're going to the quarries, enjoy them responsibly. It's the same carry in, carry out, you know, and if it's city properties and it's publicly accessible and you're allowed to be out there, then do the right thing. And I beg the community, if you see something, say something. Applies to this. This isn't just a terrorism thing. This applies to anything that is inappropriate, right? If you got kids out there that are fooling around and they're setting fires or they're carrying on in a way that's going to lead to a problem, then you need to call 911 or the business line, the police department or fire department, whatever's appropriate, and report the issue so we can go address it. You may be saving these kids from a serious injury. They may get in a little bit of trouble, but probably not a lot of trouble the first go round, right? But you might save them from a whole lot worse if you don't say anything. And that's our eyes and ears out in the woods. There's been many people that have said, oh, when it's really bad and it's red flag season and it's super dry, close the woods. Oh, really? Close the woods? I don't have that much fencing. Ed doesn't have, the police chief doesn't have that kind of staff to go patrol and make sure people are following the rules, because the folks that don't follow the rules often are the ones that are lighting the fires, that are not behaving well in the woods, that are getting injured and having issues occur. So when we tell people don't go in the woods, all the people that listen and follow the rules, they don't go in the woods, and we lose our eyes and ears out in the woods and on the trails. And the folks that don't care about the rules, they'll go out there and do what they do. And we don't hear about it until it's 5 acres, 10 acres burning, instead of a small area with a small fire that we go out and stomp out and go, come on, kids, knock it off and pack out. It's not a big deal. So, those are the things that, folks are still going to do. We've kind of gotten in the habit, I think, of more outdoor separated activities. I don't see that that's going to change a lot, because honestly, I think folks are finding that, hey, we enjoy this. We like being out on the water on the boats and out hiking and doing those different things. So, there's going to still be that mix. There's going to be folks out there enjoying it. It's going to get hot this summer. People are going to be at the beaches, at the woods, and at the quarries. So again, just, do the right things. If you need any guidance or any help, give us a call. We have pretty good resources on our website for that. But the public is truly our eyes and ears out there, especially when you get deep in the woods where it's not easy to see until it's really burning and there's a big plume and everybody goes, oh, that's a problem. And then they call. I'd rather get it when it's nothing and we walk in and go, really, and kick out a little fire and leave, than have 10 acres burning in the state forestry out here with us trying to get it under control. So we'll see how it goes. The usual stuff, barbecues and all that. Hey, if you're not an adult, don't play with the barbecue. If you're an adult, use it properly. Don't use accelerants foolishly and throw in matches from a distance to light it up. There's safer, smarter ways. So, be smart, be responsible. That's why we're adults. That's what we're supposed to do. And we've done great over the last few years. We've had very few incidents of those kind of accidents with people, with summer grills and whatnot. There's only a few places that you can actually grill in the city parks. Stage Fort's one of them, and they have the coal bins to put the coals in. So, no fires on the beaches. It's not allowed. It's a violation of DPW's rules and the code and ordinances. And, fires on the beaches, yeah, they sound like a great idea. I'd probably go have one myself. But when people don't manage them properly and there's no way to get rid of those embers and coals, which there isn't a good way to do that on our beaches, right? And we just don't have the space, and the tides don't always handle it. And then somebody's going to come along and step in those coals when they're out the next day. They stay hot. I mean, so, there's a lot of reasons why we don't allow the fires on the beaches. So, and DEP is not a big fan, Department of Environmental Protection, of any real open burning, just because of the air quality issues. So, and on that same front, if you're having any kind of recreational fire at home, you have a small chimney or one of these outdoor fireplaces, again, be responsible with the thing. Make sure it's out when you're done. You got to have the hose out there. Somebody is 18. And if you're generating smoke and it's getting to your neighbors, they're going to call us. We're going to come out. We're going to make you put the fire out. And it's legal for us to do that. It's part of the ordinance. And if it's repetitive, we're going to write you a ticket as well. We don't like to be the fun police, but if you're smoking up your neighbor's house, it's not very nice. And if they have any issues with it at all and call us, we're within our rights and requirements to require that fire's put out because of the nuisance smoke that it's creating. So, and if your fire's getting a little too big or a little further from control than it should be, we can require you to put it out for those reasons as well. So that's kind of the summer issues for us, really, that we're typically concerned with. Other than that, the department's doing great. We're in the process of doing some hiring for some vacancies that we have. We're working with the city on next year's budget is pretty much wrapped up and it's going through the final phases, outside my level with the council and the mayor's office to finish that up. So that's good. It looks like, we've put together a solid budget that's very, again, kind of a carbon copy of last year with minor increases to cover cost changes and a little bit of shifts in things because of COVID. As it wanes, we're hoping to not expend as much in supplies that we have been on the trucks. I mean, every call we've gone on, if it's EMS related, we're dealing with people, we're wearing an N95 mask, and those things went from 50 cents a piece to $5 a piece. So it got a bit costly, and we're starting to be able to move away from that with our vaccination rates in town and the low rates of COVID, where we'll be able to step down to a regular surgical mask on all calls and an N95, that higher respiratory protection and higher cost factor on calls where it's clearly needed. So minor things, but they add up over time as all of us have seen what it's doing. I mean, anybody been to buy a piece of lumber lately? It's crazy.
It's expensive.
$10 for a 2x4.
Oh, lumber is double to triple, so, and we use that stuff as training props. We've had all kinds of training going on here. So it's like, what we would budget $700 for, some wood throughout the year to create training props. Okay, now it's what? It's $2,100. Well, we didn't budget that, right? So now it's got to come from somewhere else. So it's just the economics of things and trying to get things back to normal. I'm hoping, when you look at interest rates are still pretty low, but inflation is crazy, and that has impacts on everything, including the budget of the fire department and the cost that we see trying to deliver services, keep our folks trained. So we'll see how things go. Time will tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, Chief, we're glad that you and the department are doing well, and here's hoping for a safe and fun summer around here. Those trucks behind you aren't going to wash themselves,
No, they're not. So yeah, they get out there every day, 4 o'clock, rain or shine. Well,
it was great catching up with you, and let's make a point to get in touch soon.
Yeah, sounds great. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Take care.
We love having you. Thank you.
All right, see you guys.